what they learned from the last class. I'm not sure if anybody will answer me, but what did you guys learn from the last class? If anyone can answer me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'll move on
Okay.
then.
Well, from the last class, what we basically learned was about who a content designer is. We learned that it's a new and emerging field, and there might be several names. It might be content designer, UX writer, but they all refer to the same thing. And then we also saw some examples of UX content, error messages, success messages, and notifications. We also talked about labels and buttons, and then Francis also gave us some useful tips and techniques that we can use for each type of content.
Okay. Thank you. So for today, we'll be talking about the different types of UX content. From what you said, he had explained like labels, buttons, those are actionable content down user interfaces. Now, for the type of UX content that you're going to deliver to a brand depends on what the brand is expecting from you. Most times it starts with the basic, they give you the product overview of what they would like to achieve, and then you break it down into steps or a cycle of what the user will go through and prompts that the user would expect at each step. Then there's some that will still need onboarding mails. So for like highlighting the different types of UX content, we have interface text, which are the ones you see on like websites, apps, that is screens, interface screens. Then we have the UX copies, which can be newsletters or marketing how-tos. In that you collaborate with copywriters to be able to achieve it and guide the user through that content. Then we have micro copies, which he must have highlighted with the whole labels, buttons, in-app prompts, and all. I've mentioned in-app prompts, which are also micro copies, but they like give the user a hint on what next step to take when on a user interface. Then there are onboarding mails. Onboarding mails are when a user signs up on a platform, the emails you get after you signed up, more like have you registered your KYC? Have you verified your emails? These are the features we have on our platform. This is how to use the features to your own advantage. Reminder mails to anniversary mails, birthday mails, just to make the user feel part of the family of the brand, that he or she is profiting firsthand from using the product, not just selling the product to the person and leaving the person halfway. Then we have content style guides. Content style guides are generally like a manual that UX writers or content designers use in um, writing out content for a brand or different platforms. It highlights the principles, the voice, the tone of the product, the rules, the do's and don'ts, the different actionable contents that are going to be used on the product. So I'll reiterate again the types of UX content we have: user interface content, UX copies, that's like which you write in line with the marketing department. You have micro copies, which are the small labels, buttons that you see on interfaces. In-app prompts, guiding the user on the next step to take. Onboarding emails or drip campaigns, and then content style guides. For the next one, going to talk about the principles of good UX writing. The first rule that you would always hear as a UX writer is be empathetic, because for someone that probably most people morph from things like content writing or copywriting into UX writing, and finding a balance as to selling a brand, or finding the balance between selling a brand and teaching a user how to use that brand. Olivia, you have a question?
Not really a question per se, it's just you're moving a bit fast.
Oh,
Um, so I'm not really able to keep up with notes. So,
okay.
yeah.
Should I pause? Do you need any recap of anything?
You can go ahead, but just a bit slower, please. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Ayomide, oh, Elizabeth, sorry, let me call you that. I think that the other one was your surname. You have a question? You raised your hand.
I already typed it on the chat. I was like, it was too fast. Are we going to get a note after?
Oh, okay, I will slow down. Sorry. I have like a where I summarized everything anyway. I could share the link. Is that okay?
Yes, please. That would be perfect.
Yes, please, that's fine.
Okay. Let's see. So let me know if it's accessible. Can you guys access it? Elizabeth,
Yeah, yeah.
your hand is still up.
Yes, it's accessible. Thank you.
Okay. So from the one I had explained before, does anyone have any questions as to the different types of UX content? If my explanation wasn't like open enough.
No, I don't have any question. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a bit of a question, but it's more like a clarification because you said
Okay.
UX copy involves the marketing team as well, but I
Yes.
wanted to understand how that would work.
So as I highlighted in documents, is it like a text that's part of UX user experience? Now, UX copy is more like everything a UX writer writes in summary. So if someone says, "What are you writing?" a UX copy, but there are different types of it. So if a content writer wants to push out a newsletter to educate on the product, the content writer has to align with the UX writer because that's the person that wrote for the product. Most content writers write for like brand facing. We are giving you this, we are giving you that, we are giving you this perfect. They don't tell the user how to take advantage of what they are giving the user. But when they work in hand with the UX writer, the UX writer says, okay, we are giving you this. This is how you assess it. So that's also a type of UX copy. You see that I had to put it in the bracket, UX text that is part of a user experience, including marketing and support copies. That's what they are. Do you understand now?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question?
Sorry. So the last class, the what they were telling us is examples and not types, or how are we going to separate them?
So, according to what she said, he's talked about labels, buttons, and all. Those ones are like places a US copy can go on in an interface. What I highlighted is way past a user interface, way past a website, way past an app, where UX writing can also come into play.
Okay.
There's when a user signs up on your platform, it's not just there that the user ends. Having like it's just like buying, there's an analogy I use. It's like buying a car. Okay. Copywriting is the banner you see for the car dealership. It brings in the customer. The UX writer, at the point of meeting the person that wants to buy the car, you explain these are the features of the car, this is how you change the oil, this is how you move the steering, and all of that. When the person takes the car out and has gone, UX writer doesn't just stop there. You're to work in hand with customer retention, product managers, to be sure that this user is getting the best from that car. Are the features working now? Do we need to augment it to make it better? What's happening now in the society? Can the car fit in with the escalation of the other cars in the society? Do we need to add new features? How do we explain these features to the user now that we have added them? You're their guide till the end, not just bringing them in and just giving them a manual and letting them go. So is there any other question? Hello? Can I
Really clear
continue?
now. I think we get it now. Or I get it.
Okay. So I can continue.
Yes, please.
Okay. So
Yes, you
principles
can.
of a good UX writing. Writing for a user interface is a bit like poetry. So when you listen to poets, they're selling their poems. Every word has a reason why it's been placed there, be it for forgotten ascension of the word, ascension of the sentence, to rhyme with the next sentence, to have a flow, things like that. If you're writing for an interface, the headline copy, that's the first header that you would see, is to sell the brand. But in UX writing, like copywriting, where hello? Unlike copywriting, where the copy that you've put up is to sell every of the profits in that moment, UX writing is a flow. From the header copy to the last CTA, you're flowing. Everything is a story, everything is a flow. Can the person that is talking kindly mute themselves?
Jesus, why don't I stop it?
Yes, you are the one that is talking. So, in summary, good UX writing should be empathetic. You know the problem and the pain point of this user. You are trying to solve it in line with the product managers. You are putting yourself in the user's shoes. That way you can guide them through the product and help them understand why they are using the product. Your content should be usable. That's why you hear every US copy should be clear and concise. Remove every jargon in it. The things that they don't need, witty stuff that might be in vogue now. They can get that from other brand adverts. On the interface, what they want to know is what's the next step I'm going to take. So there's no necessary need for putting jargons inside the copy you're writing. Everything you're writing should be usable, helpful. The next one is accessible. By accessible, I mean there are a lot of languages that exist for like Nigerians. There are people that fluctuate from UK English to US English and all of that. But when you're writing for an interface, especially if you're writing for a global brand, you should be able to write inclusively in a way that no matter who is touching that platform, the person understands what you're saying. So you have to vast in how all of the writing styles that probably exist so you can incorporate them to fit any user that touches the platform. As I said before, the UX writing should be clear. It should be appropriate for the platform. Writing for a website sometimes can be different from writing for an app. For a website, you start with a very big header that is selling it more like a landing page. For apps, you do it bit by bit, onboarding them, taking them in one screen till they get to sign up. So whatever you're writing, understand what platform you're writing for. Are you writing for a website, an app? Is it a welcome mail? A welcome mail is different from a how-to mail. Get a ground understanding of the different ways content flows in each of these scenarios so that you can sell it well and embody it well. It should be seamless. Don't go from selling the brand in the header copy, then you jump to reviews in the next part of a website. If you're already selling the brand, complete the brand, tell the profits to the customer, put a review at the end, then a call to action. Have a flow in your mind that you know that the user would enjoy till the last point. Is there any question?
Yes, I have a couple. Sorry.
Okay.
So the first question, relating to the principles of the UX, of good UX writing. My first question is on it being clear and removing jargon. So you said we should avoid the things that are in vogue, the witty stuff, but then
No, I'm not
there's
saying, I didn't say avoid it entirely. I mean, like a lot of it is not needed in an interface.
okay, I understand that.
Okay.
No, my question relating to that is, for instance, like you said, with the app and the website, if you have an app that you are writing for that is more, I don't know, let me say cliche, and
Okay.
the users are kind of like maybe preteens, and then they'd be more interested in those kind of words, basically.
Mhm.
Would you then have to kind of switch and or just try to find a balance? I don't know if my question is coming through clearly.
Yeah, I understand your question. That's why I ended with have a good grounding for what you're writing for before you write. Understand the flow. Now, there are platforms that start with like targeting a specific niche. If you're targeting that at the moment, you can focus on that and write for them what you know would probably catch their eyes or guide them through it all. If in line that platform or the brand decides they want to upscale, you know you have to review those copies or copy, sorry. You have to review the copy and redo them. Having a ground knowledge of who you're writing for, the problem that you want to solve for the person, helps you know how to flow with your content. Now, I gave that as an overview. That's why I started with when you're thinking globally, you can't put, because the slangs, let me use that word, that in vogue in Nigeria, if that brand wants to use that app for probably a China, it won't work. Some of the slangs, they won't understand it. Or maybe a non-African country, let me even start with that. They won't really understand the slangs that are being used on the platform. In that scenario, you have to find the balance. But if you are being told by the product manager and everyone in line with that brand that these are the people we're focusing for now, you can put in all of your swagger into it, but make it as clear as possible that the person that is reading it doesn't get confused. Because why I'm emphasizing on it, for someone that probably has done copywriting before now, you can write a copy and forget that. That thing is not selling whatever the use to the user. It's just selling the style of the brand, the, let me use the word again, swag of the brand. In the end, the user does not understand why I should use it. So you have to find a balance in, even if I'm going to use catchy words, slangs that, as you said, preteens will understand. Do they understand it enough to know how to use the platform? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did, and I think I understand. So it's just with clarity, you have to focus on the functionality for the user.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
No matter, even if you want to like dance around the whole copy, be sure that in the end they understand what they are using. It's
Okay.
functional.
All right. Thank you. That is one question. The second question I have is in relation to the international audience. Now, is there like a standard English that you can use? Because you said there's American, British, Canadian, like different English basically. So is there like one standard that you can use for international audience?
I don't think so, but these are the questions I usually like ask the product manager when I want to start. The audience you're looking at, what kind of language do they speak? That way you write with that language in mind. Because I don't think there's a standard English for like everywhere. There's some people that have adapted UK English, some US, and you said Canadian too. So if you do not have that, you might not be able to write for that user. UX writing is very specific. It's as much as we like to find the balance, we are imagining we're staring at the one person that is about to use this platform. Who is that one person? So you have to ask the person you're writing for. You're creating this product. Who do you intend to target with it? With that understanding, you can choose, or you can ask them the language you would like to translate in their product and then write with that.
Okay, thank you very much. And my final question is less of a question and more of an advice, because with our project for our team, we're focusing on Web3 gaming. And for me, I feel like those are two kind of separate industries, the gaming industry and then the Web3, which is the blockchain industry. So in
Okay.
creating content for that, how would you exactly go about it?
That will require a lot of research, like a lot of research. The two different platforms. Gaming has always like existed before now. So that would be easily accessible to get like existing platforms that might have done writing on them and are one you would consider are doing well for the users. Web3 we're just really getting the hang of it and trying to understand it now. So you have to do a lot of research and how to blend it out for them to merge. In all sincerity, I didn't know that that was you guys' project. That will require a lot of understanding of tech
It is, it's the
research.
project.
That's just for one team, actually, one group.
Ah,
Oh, okay. Good luck to that group. Oh.
yes, we need it.
Okay. Elizabeth, your hand is always up. I don't know whether you're asking something. Or is there another Elizabeth? Anyway, is there any other question? Your hand is there. There's like a hand stuff. Okay, I don't know whether you guys put it and put it off. Aha, thank you. Is there any other question?
No other questions from me for now.
Okay, so we would continue. Currently, I would agree that I'm going very fast because I think I would finish this thing before the 2. Okay, so maybe on the summary I had highlighted additional rules you can go by. Set expectations. Let me even use your gaming and Web3 thing. In line with, now you don't have a product manager to work with, so I think the whole goals and who you will talk to, who the users you're trying to target will fall on you. Are there product managers in the group?
Nope.
That means everything will actually fall on you people to
Yeah.
create like a flow for the user.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to set expectations for it, ones that you can attain. And then the users need to understand what the product can do for them and how to do it. That's what I've been saying. They need instructions and dose of reassurances. The product must engage them with clear and concise and delightful copy. So it's not a this is my brand and bye bye. It's a this is it. This is how to use it. If they drop somewhere, you haven't used it in a while. Do you need help understanding how to use it again? We added a new feature. Here's how to use the new feature. Are you enjoying our new feature? We need feedback. These are the different steps a UX writer will have to take in an interface, though it's not solely on the UX writer. It's most times we collaborate a lot with product managers, customer service, marketing, designers for sure, to be able to achieve that product for the user. Answer the user's questions before they even ask them. That's why I said every copy is empathetic. You understand the copy. Every product. You understand the product you're about to write for, but are you answering the questions of the pain point of the user? Or are you just selling a product because you know that it's answering a market value or a profit or something that is very popular right now? That is more of a marketing branding thing than a UX writing thing. Answer users' questions before they ask them. UX writing must anticipate and answer users' questions as it guides them through the task. That's where in-app prompts come in. Sign up, complete your KYC. You haven't completed your KYC. Do you need help completing your KYC? If the transaction does not go well, hey, we're sorry, the transaction wasn't successful. Do you need help with this? Here is why it wasn't successful. You can try in so time. You're not to leave the user hanging at any point. This conversation is at its core of UX writing. It's not easy to capture on a single screen. That's why I said understand the flow of your copies. It's a full journey till the end. Thirdly, demonstrate knowledge of the product itself. I also said that before. Understand the grounding of the product and embody it. You are selling the product and guiding till the last. You need to understand exactly how the product works so that you can teach users the best way to use it. What's hard about the product? What's easy about the product? And for complex or difficult tasks, you need to break it down into steps so that the user can easily follow along. Before I continue, hope everyone is following me.
Yes.
Okay. Be thoroughly researched. Now, that's why I mentioned now when you said the whole Web3 and gaming. Be sure you have every knowledge at tip of your finger, both of the product you're about to write for and its competitors out there. What is that thing you can give the user that the person can get from another platform? UX copy doesn't just sell ease, it sells functionality. Why am I with you? Why can't I go and do it with someone else? So you have to always be researching, looking for new ways to up the guide that you're giving the user on that product. Involve competitive analysis. You should know what the competition is offering and how they talk about it. That's what I highlighted now. That way you can give a more simpler and efficient new flow for the user. So it's not a write now and drop a pen. You're constantly reviewing, you're constantly auditing, you're constantly researching so that you can see or know new ways you can up that flow for the user. Incorporate content design. So content design, I call it the flow or the fluidity of content on an interface. UX writing is the execution. So how the thing will start from the beginning to the end, the journey, every of the thought process and principles that you're putting into it. That's what I call content design. So understanding how the user interface is going to come out in the end, the design principles attached to it, and how to execute it to fit the user is what a content design is. So that's why we always work in hand with UI UX designers in order to achieve a platform. Even if now it's just getting very popular and important, unlike before. But understanding every flow of how the product is going to turn out and at which point what copy best serve for that flow is content design and UX, right? I think that will be all I'm supposed to handle for today. Do you people have any other question?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Sorry. So I have a couple of questions again, sorry, relating to the research. So how exactly does the UX writing research differ from the UX research proper?
Oh no, they don't. They're not like different. They actually collaborate in that.
Okay.
A UX writer can be a UX researcher. A moment favor. A UX writer can be a UX researcher, can be a content strategist. All of these are intertwined. You look at a platform, you look at the contents there, you go out, you research as to how to elevate it. You write out, you draw an empathy map, highlighting each of the pain points of the user at each point and what would have caused their drop off. You describe the user persona, what goals that the user wants to achieve on your platform. These are researches that you can do on your own before you can be able to write a copy. Now, someone else can do it for you, in all sincerity. There are people that actually employ UX researchers that do that, or UX strategists that do that, and content strategists that do that. But for me, when I want to write a copy, I do all of that together and I form like a document for myself that will guide my writing. So they are intertwined. That way you have the ability to embody it completely. It's not a hand me down knowledge. It's something you have good knowledge of and you can also collaborate with other people on.
All right, thank you. And maybe let's Favor ask your question because I do have some others, but let Favor ask hers first.
Okay, Favor. Favor, are you there? No, we can't hear you. I think you're still muted. If you're trying to talk, you are still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So my question is based on the types of the UX content you mentioned earlier on. I just
Okay.
want to ask about the marketing copies. It's confusing for me. Like when I hear marketing copies, I'm like, okay, are we working with the graphics designers to
No,
create marketing?
no,
All right,
no,
that's clear.
that's copywriting. So if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
for the explanation I gave, when a product is about to launch, the flow is usually product managers have their idea, they document it, they share this document with designers, programmers, stakeholders, UX writers, marketing department, um, UX researchers or UX designers in line with content design and regular UI product designers come together, create a UX flow, how the interface of the product will look like, if it's a web app, website, or an app.
All right.
Having
All right.
done that,
So,
no, I'm still
okay.
explaining, sorry. Having done that, it's just the internal people that understand this product. What marketing will be doing is something new is coming, we have an update for you. When they push out the copy, it's always going to be brand facing. Now, where UX writer comes in is in educational newsletters, how to's on how to use the platform. This is the product you pushed out. This is what you stand to gain. This is how you get what you stand to gain. So that's where the whole collaboration with marketing comes in.
All right. I think you've answered my second question as well, because I wanted to ask like the user researchers, they are going to come up with questions for the survey as well. Are we
Yes.
working with them to create those questions as well? I don't know.
You can work with them. I do work with the UX researcher where I work. So I am if I get the questions, when he brings up the questions, I'm like, okay, if you ask this question, it will result in this question. It's more like everyone brings their head together, try to embody what the user would be imagining when they look at the product. So it's not a one-man thought. That way you're even getting knowledge of how the kind of copy you're to write.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Olawale Phoebe.
Okay, thank you for everything. I just wanted to ask concerning the area of collaboration. When do you know when to start? Like, at what stage do you start to write the copy for the
Um,
interface? Because I think from your explanation, we have to collaborate with the UI and UX designers, the product managers from the start, so that we have an idea of everything and we can also do our research. But like, how do you know when to start writing the copies for which? Like, is it when you get the wireframe or when you've gotten the design itself? That's just my question, actually.
okay, so this question is something I've been asking or suggesting for since I've started UX writing. There's some people that like the content first phase, and there's some people that like content last. So It depends on who you're writing for. Most times I actually fight for content first. That way we know the number of characters we're working with and you design in line with that. However, most designers like to want to do their own thing complete and then you now come in. But when you're collaborating with the product manager from the beginning towards the end, because I do um with the UX researcher, then I create a content strategy. So all of us know in line what we're working with. This is how the copy will sound. This is how the copy would look like. Create space for the copy. That way, even if you have designed anything and I'm doing content last, there's no struggle for me putting in my copy. But not everyone likes this flow. Most designers just want to design and then dump it on the UX writer's table. Well, it's a conscious effort to say, even if you are going to bring it last, have an in-depth documentation that you're bringing to me too that I can use to understand this product I'm writing for. There are some at me, I do not wait till when it's like high fidelity designs before I start writing. When they're done with their whole wireframing, as they're doing their wireframe thing, I'm doing my content strategy. And when we start the design, when you put up your first 2, 3, 4 screens and you're doing their iterations, I put in my copy so the product manager can also see it in line with the design and we work with iterating it too, till the final one.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so Olivia, Favor, your hand is still up. Okay. Olivia, it's you now.
Yeah, okay. So the first question first is related to the research for UX slash content slash yeah. So I saw so basically what I've been seeing related to research is to do a lot of communication mining. But I wanted to know if there are like other ways to get valuable information.
I actually do more like surveys.
Okay.
I've not done communication mindful. Send out Google forms to users with different questions. That way you collate like data. Then I also work with like a data analyst.
All right. And then my question is kind of like I would like if you could possibly expand more a bit on the content strategy and the content style guides.
Okay. Um a moment. I don't know if anyone of you like I would have shared my screen for something, but this is the company stuff. But in a brand or company, there are different content that goes out. So we have actionable content, which is usually on interfaces. This I'm highlighting is for the content style guide. So we have actionable content, we have general newsletters, we have emails, we have copies, we have legal content too. Different content goes out of a company. Now, as designers have this brand guide that they use to be sure of the color they're using to design, the logo, more like how they're representing the brand visually. That's the same way content style guides are. It's a manual that is guiding everyone that is putting out content from a brand. Whether you're writing a how to, whether you're writing a legal statement, a newsletter, a congratulatory page, any single content that's coming out of a brand should go in line with the content style guide. Now, it's not solely the UX writer that writes it. It's in collaboration with other content writers in that brand. There are content writers that focus on different things. There are people that like scripts. There are people that write blogs. There are people that are copywriters. There are people that write just newsletters. There are people that do email campaigns. Everyone comes together to say, this is how I want to sell the brand using an email. This is how I want to sell the brand using this. This is the voice of the brand. This is the tone of the brand. It's a manual for everyone writing content. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, kind of, but in a way, is the content style guide now based off of the normal brand guide? Because the brand guide also talks about, the voice and the tone.
No, it's not. It collaborates with it. That's why I said everyone comes together to form it. So the tone on the brand guide would also be the same one on the content, so that anything coming out of the brand is alike, sounds alike, it's consistent.
Okay, I understand. Understand. So, at what point does the content strategy then come in play?
Okay, that is not in line with style guides. That's for every time, though for me, for every time I want to write for any platform, I create a strategy for what I want to write for. It is collaborating with the content style guide in line with tone, voice, and all. But let's say I have the style guide. They tell me we're creating this feature. This is what the feature is to achieve. I'll do my survey, know how that's research now with the UX researcher and collate data. With that data, this content style guide, understand the questions that's to be answered with this copy and how to guide the user for this product. Create a strategy that I would work with for that particular product. So it's not you have a guide for yourself. That's what I use my content strategy for, to guide me through it, to know what I am trying to achieve and have a flow for it.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Okay. I think maybe for like your spare time you can Google different content style guides. I like MailChimp's own, it's very nice. You can check their own out so you can see all of what I'm saying was incorporated in it. Someone has shared MailChimp, yeah. I like their own content style guide. I, it high it highlights a lot of things, and they opened it so that in case you want to use it for your own brand, you can learn a thing or two from it. Oh, it's not loading. Let me check if I can get it. Is there any other question? Because I think I'm almost done.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I think that will be all. No? Thank you all for listening to me. Till next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
rest of your day.
Thank you.